And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Kuzmas.
I'm Pej Michelle.
Thanks for joining us today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us once again.
Absolutely. Big feast day today.
It is the end of January always.
End of January. On January 30th, every year, we remember the three hierarchs, right?
People don't know what that means, Father.
Yeah, the three bishops. A hierarch is a bishop.
Okay.
So the three bishops, and we're referring to St. Basil the Great, St. Gregory the Theologian, St. John Chrysostom. And they each have their own separate feast day. And they lived roughly around the same time. But years later, centuries later, actually, there was kind of this controversy in the church over which of the three of them was the greatest. And the church actually developed kind of factions, kind of groups that sort of said, no, St. John Chrysostom's the greatest. No, St. Gregory's, no, St. Basil the greatest. And there was kind of a little infighting. So we ended up, I'm summarizing the story. I'm not going to go into the whole story.
We're so dumb
we
as
ended
humans,
up
what we fight over.
celebrating them all together on one day to solve the problem.
Got it.
But it gets you thinking about who we look up to and who we emulate in our lives. Because these were the kind of the heroes of their day. And it gets me thinking about...
the things that they wrote and contributed to the faith.
Oh my gosh,
things that,
right? They're all amazing saints. And you can make an argument for any one of them being the greatest saint of the church. The point is, we're not supposed to worry about that. Yeah. But it is, what we're trying to bring up is, who are we trying to be like? Who are we looking up to? And who do we emulate? Yeah. Because this is around the 11th century when this controversy is happening, if I remember right. So 1,000 years ago, roughly. Mm-hmm. And now, what are we doing 1,000 years later?
The topics of conversation are a little different in 1,000 years.
Well, it's also, if you think about, like kids, like looking up to who they want to be like.
Yes.
And now, we have our superhero movies.
And our sports heroes. I mean, if anybody asks me one more time about who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan, so can we just put it to rest? But it's interesting because, like you're saying, could you imagine a time in the world where their controversies and their conversations were about holy things and not about sports figures
holy
or
people. It just
or
goes
movie
to show
stars?
You, people argue over anything, right? Over everything.
We do.
But I think like this idea that, we have our superhero. I wanted to sort of pick on Marvel and DC a little bit because we have our and along with that, Star Wars and kind of all of these things.
You name it, yeah.
We have our sort of culture that's immersed in all of this sort of just mythology that we've created as a society, and very recently, right? As of late, it's fairly recently, just in the 20th century. And
the amount of information that people memorize and people know, and Comic-Con and all these things where
to it.
Yes, there's a crazy commitment to it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they're all bad movies.
No, it can be fun.
A lot of them are bad. They're not all bad.
We've watched a lot of them.
Right. Well, we've got kids. We've watched some of them. I do have to say I'm kind of burned out of it. When my sons sort of talk about, this next thing is coming out. This next Marvel thing, this next, whatever. We talk about, the next Captain America with Red Hulk.
Harrison Ford, just stop.
My sons are already saying, Dad, that's going to just be terrible. And I said, you know what? I don't even have the energy to think about it. I have no desire to see it. I'm kind of superhero burned out.
Yeah.
There were so many
movies. But it takes up a lot of people's time.
It does. Well, and now we're re-releasing the new Superman. Did you see the new Superman? How many Supermans in our lifetime how many Batmans, how many times are you going to reload this and, re-push it out to make more money? And who are our kids looking? Our kids are looking up to these fake people and sort of like, but they don't know anything about their own saints. They don't know anything about...
We've got to bring that back.
About real historical figures.
Yes.
That we know lived amazing lives in Christ.
Yeah.
And that's what I should be looking at as an example to imitate. But I don't know anything about them.
And it's a new generation. There's no way to say I can't find out the story of the person I was named after. You're absolutely right. I think it hit me as a parent years ago when our kids, we were playing a board game, and it might have even been like a Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit or something.
Oh, right. Because
we love the Lord of the Rings, and that's fun, and it's a great pastime. But I was realizing the knowledge that they had of the characters of the franchise, and I thought, I've got some work to do.
Sure.
I've got some work to do.
We all do.
Where are the other people,
right.
like you said, that are actually people who lived and conquered evil things and made an impact on our faith? And it's hard. It's hard because people say, come on, I can just sit on the couch and watch a movie. It's very nice. It's very entertaining. You're just trying to plant some seeds that we need to maybe balance. And who are we emulating? We don't really want to emulate Spider-Man as much as we would emulate
or Batman. Right. Or any of these sort of characters. And far too often what we do now to make the characters more complex is we have dark heroes. We have light. We have light villains. I don't know if that's a term, but I feel like there's an idea that you watch certain movies and you're empathizing more with the villain of the piece than with the protagonist, and it's kind of like, okay, what is the point of all this? We can memorize so many things about Star Wars, and my sons will ask me all the time, did you watch this series? Did you see that series? Did you watch Loki? Did you see Mandalorian? Did you see? I'm like, no, I've had enough. I don't need to see that anymore. It's of no benefit to me to continue to immerse myself. It's not enough that there was a Marvel universe. Now there's a multiverse. It's not one universe is not enough. We need more than one universe to be wasting our time on. And it's sort of like you can enjoy a little bit of
you can enjoy a couple of movies, sure.
Of course. But be balanced, right? And it's sort of like saying, let's encourage our kids to know also, and ourselves, to know more about our own faith. And to really ask ourselves, okay, as I'm thinking about who I'm looking up to and who I want to imitate, who I want to be like, who is that? And it should be saints of the church.
Yeah, and we have plenty of time. You've said it many times, and probably even on this, that the devil isn't making us evil people. The devil is distracting us so much that we have no time to do anything good or to draw closer to Christ, right? There's a distraction that comes in where, like you said, it's nice to watch a movie, but to watch 28 movies,
right? Well, it's also
different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the movies to pick on that.
Yeah, we're picking on them
because they've become so bad, and it's just such garbage lately. Okay. But it's also more just a mentality for, and you realize that when you're dealing with young kids, and you deal with young kids as a teacher every day, so you're asking yourself of the little kids that you deal with. Let's say, just pick little girls that you're dealing with. However, the teenage girls, how many of them, if they're looking up to somebody, they're looking up to the Virgin Mary, or are they looking up to Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be like this person. Who do you want to be like? Like, and why are you picking that?
It's pretty tough.
And the little boys are looking up to somebody. Who are they looking up to? Right. That's the thing. Who are they trying to imitate? I want to be like that guy. And who is that guy? Is it Christ? Is it a saint of the church? Are you looking up to your patron saint? Are you trying to be like Saint Demetrius? Are you trying to be like Saint Nicholas? Are you trying to be like Saint George, Saint John Chrysostom, Saint Basil the Great, Saint Gregory? Or are you trying to be like the Mandalorian? Are you trying to be like Loki? Are you trying to be like Thor?
Just
who are you trying to be like?
And I think our job as parents is you have to keep things in their lane. So you're going to watch a Spider-Man movie or whatever you said, any kind of a story. That's great. Watch it. Have a nice time. But when they say, I want to be like, we've got to make sure we're directing people in the right direction. Because like you're saying, there are times on a Saturday afternoon that you want to just relax and sit on the couch and laugh and watch something funny.
Right.
But then in the evening before they go to bed, are they also watching something until they brush their teeth? Or are we taking a minute to say, let's read a small story and then let's read the prayers of the day?
Right.
It's like you said, we're not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know if that's the right, what's the word to say?
It's not. But
it's not. He helps me so much with these phrases.
That ain't the baby.
What I'm trying to say is
go overboard, in other words.
Yeah, to go overboard.
Be extremists.
As parents, especially with younger kids, we've got maybe with our older kids too,
well,
there is this idea of what are we looking up to?
Yeah, for kids.
Yes.
There are a lot of people watching that aren't parents.
Okay.
In terms of, well, I don't have young kids.
Yeah, they're grown up.
Oh, they're talking about parenting. I don't have to wait. Okay, fine. Who are you looking up to? Right? And the answer for a lot of adults is me. I'm looking up to me. I'm thinking about me. I'm not looking up to anybody. Let's be honest. Kids look up to somebody.
Yes.
Because they're still growing up and they're not adults yet. And then we become adults and we don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah. But we're still, as adults, supposed to be looking for role models, looking up to somebody to say, I want to be like that person. Who is that for us? And for most people, they don't have role models.
They're looking out for number one.
Right. The level of hubris that just works its way in there and says, I'm fine, just like me. What am I going to look up to? I'm too old to have a role model.
But that's interesting. I never thought of that. So you're saying because we have to keep growing until our last day.
Exactly.
We can't say, I'm 50, I'm good.
Or I'm 40, or I'm 30, or I'm 80, whatever it is, and say, it would be weird for me to look up to somebody because I'm an adult. I'm grown. Yeah. I'm an old person.
I've got my gray hair. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
But the beauty of the saints is there's always somebody, unless you're performing miracles. If you're performing miracles, you're good. This video is not for you. If, though, you can look up to somebody like St. John Chrysostom or St. Basil the Great, right? Or whoever, whichever saint you want to pick, and sort of say, I'm looking up to somebody that I realize got so close to Christ that they're working miracles and working miracles for a long time, right?
Keep growing.
Then I have room to keep, there's something for me to aspire to. I can never sort of say, okay, I'm good where I am. Don't ever think you're good right where you are. Always think, no, there's a better, I should be going to that place.
One
I
step
should be
closer.
growing.
Yeah.
I can always be closer to Christ. I'm not as close to Christ as I could possibly be. Hopefully we're not that delusional to it, and we can admit that to ourselves. So then it's, well, who are you looking up to give you inspiration? It's about inspiration to say, wow, look what I can do. I can do something better than what I'm doing. Look at what she was able to do. Look at what he was able to do. I can get closer to Christ if I realize there's room for growth. And you can't do that if you don't have a goal. And looking up to somebody, well, that's the goal, to say, wow, I can be like that person. And so it's a beautiful thing, and we need that in our lives. We need someone or people, multiple, to look up to, and say, okay. And for our kids to teach them that process, right? You're not looking up to Spider-Man. You're not looking up to Taylor Swift. You're not looking up to whoever it might be.
To worldly things,
right?
Yeah.
You're not looking up to those people. Yeah. Because those people's lives are a mess, or they're fake. It's not real, right? But we have real people in the life of the church that have worked miracles. Look up to those people. And for those of us that are adults, think, okay, I'm not perfect right where I am. I can be doing better. But if I now stop comparing myself to me or to someone that's further away from Christ than I am, but compare yourself to someone who's with Christ and say, well, I want to be there. Why don't you want to be there? Then we get closer and closer to Christ, and we do that each and every day.
Amen.